Historic Resources Board meeting for January 2026 by first rising and pledging our allegiance to the flag. Eddie, do you want to lead us?
I sure will. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Can you do a roll call for us?
Yes, Chair. Board Member Britno. Board Member DeVries.
Here.
Board Member Mortorano. Absent. Board Member Sanchez.
Present and accounted for.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Fantastic, thank you. First thing we're going to do is election of a chair and vice chair. Before we do that, though, I'm going to call an audible here, and I'd like us to have a moment of silence for a member of our community we lost last month, Georgiana Glardy, who was a very, very special person to this community, to the history of this town, to me personally. I know to Kara, too, who's with us tonight. Her significance and contribution to the city of San Juan Bautista just cannot be overstated, in my opinion. I know I will miss her, for one. So won't you join me in a moment of silence for Georgiana? Thank you very much. And let's let her legacy live on in us, and as we preserve and promote this town and its history, because that's what she would want, I think. Anything you want to say, Kara? For a long time.
Oops, tremendous loss to the community because she knew just about everything there was to know about San Juan Bautista, and she was our go-to person if we needed information. And she did serve on the first Historic Resources Board for a number of years. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to miss her.
Absolutely.
And, she was a member of the Historical Society Board as well, and
Okay.
he was our treasurer. So we're going to have to be replacing her with somebody who's interested in history and hopefully, will do as much as she did. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah. Some shoes are tough to fill. Okay, so then moving on to the election of chair and vice chair, as we said. I think there's nothing to hear from staff about as far as I can tell. So are there any thoughts on nominations?
I nominate Commissioner Bretnell. She's been doing a heck of a job with going through the cycle of getting us grants and going down that rabbit hole. And I think she'd be an amazing candidate, especially with the guidance of Chairman Debris and the city around her. I think she'd be an amazing fit.
That's a great idea, Eddie. I feel the same way. So
I make a motion to nominate Commissioner Bretnell to be the chair of the Historical Resource Board.
I second that motion wholeheartedly. Do you oppose?
No.
Okay. Do you want to do a roll call on that, Victor?
Yes, sir. So, Commissioner Britno.
Aye.
Commissioner DeVries.
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Let me think. Yes, I.
Motion carries.
Fantastic. Do you want me to finish vice chair, or do you want to do it?
Keep on going.
Okay, so let's just finish up with my thoughts on that, Eddie, since you did so well with the chair.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Mortorano would be a good vice chair.
I think we can do that in abstention, can't we? I think so too.
There's a majority here, and he's not here to
Yeah.
say no.
That's one of the problems. When he comes back, we'll tell him all the stuff we put him on.
You can nominate him, and if he declines, we can address it at the next meeting.
Perfect. I agree. All right. So a nomination for Chris Martirana. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. Motion in a second, Victor.
Okay. Commissioner Britno.
Aye.
Commissioner DeVries.
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
There we have it. Okay.
Oh, I was hoping you might finish this out.
Take it away. No, that would be improper. You are the chair.
And you need to take your stuff down. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. All right, I'm just gonna let it go.
This is your.
Yes, but we'll just leave it for right now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? No.
Yes, we do. We have Kara Vaughn. You may now approach the podium.
Thank you, planning commissioners. This is definitely off topic, but I have 6 free 2026 calendars. I was hoping there'd be more people here who might need a paper calendar still. So I'm going to put them back by the table and you can help yourself and staff to.
What type of calendars are they?
World Wildlife, Audubon, all of the
Okay.
people I donate to.
Oh,
Seeing no further public comment in chambers and on Zoom.
thank you, Victor. Okay. All matters listed under the consent agenda may be enacted by one, I don't need to read that. You and I are gonna have to go over rules and regulations if that's okay. All right. Next, having no more public comment, do we need to do an emotion to approve the agenda?
The consent.
The consent, correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the affidavit of posting and also the regular minutes for December 2, 2025.
Sorry, prior to the motion, open up for public comment.
On the consent?
Generally, and John can correct me, but generally you have comments on each section.
Okay,
Ariel, can you hear me?
I just said,
Open up, is there any comment on consent?
okay, would anyone like to comment on the consent agenda?
We do not have any public comment in chambers or on Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much. Public comment is now closed on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I renew my motion to approve the affidavit of posting and the minutes from December 2, 2025.
Do we have a second?
I move to approve.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as is. Do we need a roll call vote? Okay,
Yes.
Victor, we're all yours.
Alrighty, Commissioner Brittenell,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVries,
Yes, aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
motion carries.
All right. Comments. Commissioner DeVries, do you have any comments at this time in regards to the HRB?
I thought that I did, but it has left me HRB other than recognizing Georgiana. No.
Okay. Commissioner Sanchez.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay. I would just like to quickly touch base on the grant piece. I apologize. I was hoping to have some time to jump into that. I haven't, but I think, Ariel, I would like to get together with you and kind of find out how you want to follow up on that. If you still want me to take a lead on that, or if you want me to turn it over, just kind of figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, we'll review the terms. Certain grants require that it be a jurisdiction or a nonprofit. So let's get together and discuss.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me. Ariel.
There are no city manager comments, and the only comments that I have is that we will be posting this week. They wanted for historic preservation ordinance update for the member at large. They wanted to have a wider pool of people actually apply for that. So we'll be posting that and seeing if we can get on the January city council meeting. If not, it'll be on the February, but we won't have a draft until sometime in February, so it won't be holding up anything.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to address the training that you briefly told me about as well? Now or later or not at all?
Yes, so it's a little bit more to our planning commission, but once we have our fifth commissioner appointed, hopefully that happens in January, then I will be during planning commission providing a Brown Act and commissioner training, land use 101, what's your role, especially as we have a new commissioner coming on board. So that will be forthcoming. If appointed in January, then we'll do it in February. If that fifth appointment comes later, then we'll postpone it.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any further comments?
Nope.
Nope. With that, I would like to adjourn this meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. Victor?
Commissioner Brittenell,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVries,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
motion carries.
Yes. Oh,
Man.
how'd that feel?
Great.
You hit it nice and firm. That was
Yes, I
good.
did.
You're natural. Uh, pushing through, right?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
It's 18.
What?
I think that was the fastest meeting ever.
Good job. Elise is flexing already. Fastest ever. Okay, let's commence the planning commission portion of this evening by rising once again to pledge our allegiance to the flag. Elise, do you want to lead us?
Please join me in the flag of allegiance. Please, I can't speak. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
Hey,
and
Liz.
justice for all.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please, Victor?
Yes, Chair. Commissioner Brittenell,
Present.
Commissioner Mortarana, absent. Commissioner Sanchez,
Present and accounted for.
Chair DeVries.
Here, present.
We have a roll call.
Thank you, Victor. Let's similarly handle the election of chair and vice chair for the planning commission. And just like last time, I'll open it up to ideas or suggestions, nominations, comments.
I nominate current chair, Commissioner DeVries.
I'll second that.
Thank you guys very much. There's been a motion and a second. Victor?
Commissioner Brittenell,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeVries,
I
motion carries.
I accept with honor. Thank you guys very much. I can tell you that this year is going to be nothing like last year. You know why?
Oh, yeah.
Just wait. Just wait. We'll talk about it at the end with planning commissioner comments, but Ariel and I are already working on field trips. Remember that?
Yes.
She's going to make that happen. Watch.
Oh, great.
Okay. Next for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Sanchez.
I wholeheartedly agree and second that motion, if you'll accept it.
Yeah, I accept. Thank you.
Fantastic. Roll call, Victor, please.
Yes, Commissioner Brittenell,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVries,
Aye.
motion carries.
Fantastic. That's great. Just great. Each month we set aside time on the agenda to hear from the public for things that are not otherwise going to be discussed on the agenda. Is there anything like that, Kara? Nothing from you? Okay. And no one in Zoom land, I don't think, Victor, right? I don't see.
Nobody in Zoom land.
Okay. So then general public comment is closed. Let's turn next to consent, which will consist of the affidavit of posting and the minutes. Unless there is a desire to pull one of those things, I'll entertain a motion to approve both.
I move to approve the consent agenda and the regular posted meeting minutes of December 2nd, 2025.
I second that motion.
Motion in a second. Victor?
Commissioner Brittenell,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeVries.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, our first action item. This is the ad hoc committee for the gas station project, Plan Commission ad hoc committee, and Ariel, I presume you have a report for us.
I don't have a presentation. Following the city council approved the development agreement and the conditions of approval. And as part of that, for some of the different design feature conditions of approval, an ad hoc would be formed as the final approval on those. I do want to update that I have spoken with the applicant. They're working on preparing a color swatch that for the ad hoc, and so I'm hoping to get later this month.
Okay.
I did want to include that there is, for your guys' consideration and nominations, there is, when something is submitted, we do need your availability to, within 10 working business days, meet, deliberate, and provide feedback within that timeframe. So as you're thinking about whether you can accept this role or not, we're going to be adhering to those timelines for
Yeah,
the
you're-
applicant
Okay, you're specifically saying on the ad hoc committee.
on the ad hoc.
Yep, okay, thank you.
And I want to drop a footnote to that because Ariel and I talked about this last week or so. I can't remember. And I said, 10 days. Are you kidding me? These guys are going to want some guidance and feedback in real time. So I think what it could very well look like is Ariel getting in touch with the ad hoc and saying, hey, we need a decision or some whatever, a decision made on XYZ. Can you stop by City Hall this afternoon? So it's going to be, I think, kind of drop of a hat kind of stuff because I imagine these requests might be coming rapid fire. So I think the point being, we got to turn it around fast. We can't hold these guys up. Well, let me finish what color, you know.
Quick question. Can we make decisions electronically or does it all have to be in person?
No, it can be electronic. I can send some things like the color swatch are really going to be
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the staff presentation done, let's open it up for public comment. Are there any members from the public that would like to comment on this agenda item?
Chair, I have no public comment in chambers or in Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Public comments closed. Conversation returns to the commission. So for this ad hoc, I don't normally do this, but I want to be on it because I've been, as I think you guys, both of you know, intimately involved with Fred Avila, the designer, and the applicants, and this corner in general, and on and on and on. Especially the design of it. Fred and I worked pretty closely to come up with this new kind of sheep ranch vernacular that's supposed to have something to do with the windmill architecture vernacular. And it was important to me that the two look somewhat the same, very nicely. So when you're sitting at that intersection, you think, wow, this is a special place. It's going to be neat. So we need to make sure that Tax Corner, the gas station project, turns out well. I think the design's great. Now we just have to make sure that all the execution is done properly, and we'll be in good shape. So I would like to be on it. But is there anyone else who would like to be on it?
Commissioner, I have a question.
Yes.
And this is to Ariel. We just need one planning commissioner, right?
No more
Or
than
two?
two. You
Okay. All right. And you'd like to be on it? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Are we voting now? Because I say yeah and go for
I
it.
was,
mean,
yeah.
Okay.
there's no reason why we can't. You've been in the trenches getting this thing, up, off the ground. So I think it'd be silly if we divert from current plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you and Chris.
Chris and
You
I?
Commissioner Mortorana.
Why don't you make that a motion?
Okay, I move that that representation from the Planning Commission will be comprised of Chairman DeVries and Commissioner Mortorana.
I second that.
Okay. Roll call, Victor.
Commissioner Brentnell,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeVries,
Aye.
motion carries.
And thank you for the vote of confidence. I'll commit, and I know Ariel will too, to regularly, meaning every meeting, provide you with an update of instances where the ad hoc has been asked to weigh in on something, what that thing was, what the deliberation was, and what the outcome was, so that you guys will be kept up to date in real time. And then you can always call me too, or text me. Hey, what's going on over there? And I'll let you know if I know. So the communication flows. Thank you very much. Okay, next agenda item 6A, review of the general plan amendment, housing element, 6-cycle update. Before we hear from quote unquote staff, which is Ariel and Victor, I want to take this opportunity to commend our new planning director, Ariel Goodspeed, for getting this thing done. I mean, it's unbelievable. You talk about a monkey off of our back. You don't even know what you don't know. And this was a big monkey, and it was climbing up our back. So for her to get this behind us is just huge. And we could not be starting off the year in a better way, in my opinion. So thank you, Ariel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. Ariel Goodspeed, Planning Manager. I have the pleasure of presenting the 2023-2031 6-cycle draft housing element and furthering fair housing analysis this evening. Next slide. I'll give it just a minute. Slide 2. So what is a housing element? The housing element is a required part of the city's general plan, and it's updated on a state mandated 8-year cycle. It explains how the city will plan for housing needs across all income levels during the 2023-2031 period. It also serves as the city's primary housing policy document, identifies sites to meet the city's RENA, supports affordable housing, removes barriers to housing development, and includes strategies of affirmatively furthering fair housing. The document includes 4 key components: a housing needs and fair housing analysis, a review of constraints to housing, an inventory of housing sites and resources, and a housing plan that sets goals, policies, and implementation programs to guide future decision-making. Next slide. Why are we updating it? It's required by state law. It plans for regional housing needs. It demonstrates compliance with HCD, and it guides our future housing decisions. Next slide. So state law requires every city and county to plan for its fair share of regional housing needs through the Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA, process. This process ensures that housing opportunities are planned for both current and future residents across all income levels, and serves as a key mechanism for affirmatively furthering fair housing and promoting inclusive communities statewide. San Juan Bautista's 6-cycle housing element through the planning period 2023 through 2031. During this cycle, the city is required to identify adequate sites and implementation programs to accommodate its assigned RHNA of 88 units. A detailed breakdown of the city's housing allocation by income category is provided in Table 1-1 above. Next slide. A key requirement of the housing element is demonstrating adequate sites to meet the city's regional housing needs allocation. The housing sites inventory was developed using county GIS data, assessor records, and city field verification to identify sites that were realistically developable. The city has identified 24 parcels totaling approximately 17.45 acres with a realistic capacity of about 156 housing units, which exceeds the city's RHNA requirement. These sites were evaluated for infrastructure availability, development feasibility, and environmental constraints. The complete inventory, including site and characteristic development capacity, is summarized in Table 4-1 of the housing element. And I just want to emphasize that no rezoning is being done on these sites. It's existing zoning on these sites. Next slide. The housing plan is organized around 6 core goals that guide the city's housing policies and programs during the planning period. Goal 1 focuses on preserving and improving the existing housing stock, supporting rehabilitation, maintaining affordability, and investing in infrastructure and public services. Goal 2 addresses housing opportunities for all income levels and special needs populations, including rental assistance, emergency and supportive housing, childcare, and partnerships with nonprofit service providers. Goal 3 emphasizes increasing housing supply across all income categories through zoning, funding, inclusionary housing, and coordination with nonprofit and private developers. Goal 4 is focused on minimizing and removing government constraints by streamlining approvals, promoting ADUs, updating zoning standards, and aligning local regulations with state housing law. Goal 5 advances fair and equal housing opportunity by enforcing anti-discrimination laws, supporting fair housing services, and addressing the needs of underserved and special needs populations. Finally, Goal 6 ensures accountability through a coordinated housing element implementation program that tracks progress, reports outcomes, and ensures continued compliance with RENA and AFFH requirements. Together, these goals and policies provide the framework for implementing the housing element and guiding future housing decisions in the city of San Juan Bautista. Next slide. State law, specifically Assembly Bill 686, requires that the housing elements updated on or after January 1st of 2021, include an affirmatively furthering fair housing or AFFH analysis. These requirements align with the federal AFFH final rule and ensure that fair housing is a core part of local planning and decision-making. Under state law, affirmatively furthering fair housing means taking meaningful actions, not just prohibiting discrimination, to address historic patterns of segregation, reduce disparities in access to opportunity, and promote inclusive communities. Protected characteristics include race, ethnicity, disability, familial status, and other factors identified in state and federal law. The AFFH analysis must include outreach to the community, an assessment of fair housing conditions using data and background information, evaluation of segregation patterns, racially or ethnically concentrated areas of poverty, disparities in access to opportunity, disproportionate housing needs, and displacement risk. A review of the housing sites inventory and identification of contributing factors, goals, and actions. These requirements guide the city's housing policies and programs to ensure fair and equitable housing opportunities for all residents. Next slide. Community involvement was a key part of developing the housing element. The city conducted inclusive and transparent outreach to ensure the document reflects the needs and priorities of residents, businesses, and community stakeholders consistent with AFFH requirements. Outreach was led by the Community Development Department, included public workshops, planning commission, city council hearings, a community housing needs survey, and ongoing communication through the city's website. Bilingual outreach materials and Spanish translation services were provided to promote equitable participation. Tonight, we also have Spanish translation services. Input was received to help shape the housing elements, goals, policies, and programs, and particularly around affordable housing, ADUs, and housing opportunities for lower income and special needs populations. Next slide. The housing element update is exempt from CEQA because it is a policy level document that does not approve any development or construction. It qualifies for the common sense exemption, the statutory exemption related to housing needs allocation, and the infill exemption. Any future zoning changes or housing projects will be subject to separate CEQA review as required. Next slide. Our next steps include city council adoption and is being set and scheduled for January 20th. And afterwards, we will submit to HCD for certification. Next slide. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open the public hearing, receive public testimony, and adopt resolution number 2026-XX. This action would recommend that the City Council approve the 2023 to 2031 housing element and authorize submittal of the adopted document to the California Department of Housing and Community Development for final certification. And that concludes my presentation.
Great, thank you very much. Great presentation. Are there any questions for staff before we open up public comment? Eddie, Elise?
I do have a couple of questions. And I'm going to apologize. I wrote in my binder here. My first question, Ariel, we started talking about this earlier. I wanted to really understand the numbers. I understand that we don't have to build that sort of thing. What are we saying with the 88 homes that we're agreeing to right now? We're agreeing that we're going to allow the space or that these are buildable. What happens by the end of 2031 if nobody wants to build?
If, if it does not get, we just have to plan for the units. And then there will be a new cycle and they'll give us a new number. And then we have to plan for the new, allotted number. In the fifth cycle, we had 41. In this cycle, the sixth cycle, we have 88. It actually was a reduction. The state had originally provided COG, I think we were like close to 800. And then COG between the three jurisdictions, the county, the city of Hollister, and San Juan Bautista, and COG went through the process and redistributed those numbers. And so over 4,000 went to the city of Hollister. And then under, it was like 740, 751, something like that went to the county of San Benito, and then the city received the remainder of 88. And so that's
Okay, so my next question, that number 88, does that have anything to do with the fifth cycle's number? So in an example, if you don't build out those 41 from the fifth cycle, do they add that to the sixth cycle?
no, it's there's a new number that's distributed, and there are some regulations, and John can speak to this, where when you're looking at, so if there are they call them pipeline projects. If there's projects that have been approved during that process but are not yet built, and there's like a time window that the state provides, you can count those towards the next RENA cycle. We didn't have any. Everything had been built prior to the cutoff date, and there weren't any new projects. So that's why, otherwise we would say, oh, well, our pipeline projects accounted for X number of those 88 units. That's why it wasn't shown in here. So potentially, I can't predict what will happen in the next 6 years, but if one of these projects was to develop and maybe they get through the planning process and they have entitlement, but they're not yet built, maybe potentially is a possibility that they could count towards that next RENA cycle.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then my next question is on page 2-40, where you talk about vacancy status. And basically it says that 5%, we have 5% vacancy here. And, further, as I was reading further down, I noticed that some of that is because of blight, fire, somebody crashed into the home. But there's still a few more homes. Do you know and I'm assuming that this is purely residential, no business. Why are those homes vacant?
I would have to go look into maybe the specific sites, and I could get back to you on that information. You're always going, in every jurisdiction, you're always going to have a certain number of, vacancies in the community, whether, they just haven't maybe been rented out or sold, or, or they need repair, or, there's just a variety of different reasons. So you're always going to have, a proportion of your housing stock with it's not unheard of or uncommon.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question is on page 3-23, where we're talking about the fire hazard zones. And I noticed that San Juan Bautista is predominantly in a high fire zone and very high fire zone. So my question to you is, do you believe there may be avenues that we can chase that might be able to assist us with grants that might be able to help us across any portion of planning or HRB with this information? And that's the last comment I want to make is thank you so much for all this detailed information. It really, really helped and provided me with more than enough just to make this decision, but more information that I can draw on the future. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. So
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. So, what happens when you're looking at your high fire hazard area, really with housing stock is there's different building requirements that come into play. So then they have to um, build to, if let's just say that parcel is a high fire hazard area, then they would have to build to the WUI standard, the Wildland Urban Interface construction standard. And so then what happened, what basically there's more like insulation. It's like a 2 hour, window that they have, you know, provide that it can, burn without, burning down the. So it's really related to construction. And why you maybe discuss, some of these things is that, it goes into the constraints. And the higher building costs can be a constraint to the production of houses. And so it's just really looking at the data and identifying, what potential constraints, would be here.
Okay. Do you, Chairman, may I ask one more question?
Yes, I guess. No, just kidding. Well, sure. That's what we're here for.
And I know I'm straying off here, but there's a method to my madness.
Mhm.
Do you think that there might be grant opportunities out there where we can help offset the cost of some of those additional expenses because we're in a very high or a high fire area? And in short, my question is, can we utilize this to our benefit to go after funds to help our community?
That is,
I think it's a good question.
that's a great question.
So basically, what she's saying is, what does the state and federal government do for people like us who are in very high fire dangers? Do they have any programs or grant opportunities to offset the costs that we're going to have to deal with? It's not our fault. We're in a very high fire zone.
So it wouldn't be the city's cost, it would be the developer's cost
Right.
to construct. And so it,
That's true.
so it wouldn't, there's no cost to the city.
That's a good point.
And
That's probably the answer.
but developers like those that do affordable housing projects, there are a lot of federal grant dollars available that they use
So there's
from
Section 8.
HPD. And by us getting our housing element adopted and certified from HPD, we then, those funds then become available. But yeah, it isn't generally a cost to the city. It's a
Right.
cost to developers.
I understand it isn't a cost to the city. I'm looking at it from a perspective of,
Trying to find money.
yeah, yes.
Hey, does that get us something? We're on here. What does this get us? For red.
It's more from a perspective of we are getting to the point where we are going to be fine lined on what we will and won't accept here in this community. And with that, I think it's going to afford us to be very picky in regards to who and what type of construction we allow here, which I think is what everyone in this community, or at least the majority of us, want. So my question is, could we potentially go after money to leverage that in regards to pulling in the right type of organizations to construct for us?
Those are some really good questions. I'm going to kind of maybe break it up into some pieces. So usually, the city is not, we don't build houses. I have seen in the past when I worked at the county where a nonprofit affordable housing builder, would want to do the project, for example, Riverview too, and the county sold them the parcel for $1, and then we were eligible for funds, and so it was a self-help project, and so what we did, we applied for home grant funds, and what that did was when the homeowner applicant came in, so there's a lottery process, and then once they were selected, it provided for like gap funding,
Mhm.
for their loans. The county also provided for the affordable housing project that the reduction that they didn't charge impact fees. It was like a deferred cost. And so there are things where jurisdictions can partner with nonprofits, but we're not generally not the lead on the development project. And so, but we can, if an applicant comes and we could work on a potential project and opportunities.
All right.
But we have a lot more opportunities when we have a certified housing element.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Retnall. Commissioner Sanchez, what do you got? Anything?
I got a couple things
Yeah,
real
you do.
quick. First and foremost, thank you for the report. I actually managed to read through all 49,000 pages. So very informative. So again, information, I'd rather have more information than not. But I guess going down to the meat and potatoes of it, I did understand that, the biggest part of it was that federal and state grants are on the line here, and that we do need to be in compliance with the housing element that's, set before us. My only question is, and I know this back in the day, or at least since I got on board, which is, okay, we got handed a number of 88 units, right, to build. With that said, I do know that there is a timeline of 8 years to do so. However, there's also stipulation that says, well, we're not going to be deemed or penalized if our city's infrastructure cannot handle it. Has there been, because it hasn't been brought to my attention, has there been any reporting that, that states, okay, we got these step goals in place within the next 8 years, we're going to average, 11 units, and that the city of San Juan can sustain that?
So I'm just going to, these are really good questions, and they're very common questions because it's confusing. We're required to plan for those units on where they can be built, but we're not required to build those units. So we could go through this time period and then they don't get built. But what we are required to do is we're required to do annual reporting, and that actually will be coming to you no later than March, because it has to be submitted by April 1st of each year. And we report on the housing element, we report on the general plan. And as part of that, what you're reporting on is there's different goals. I went through those different goals. And so you're saying, okay, what did we do or not do to do those goals? And most of those goals, if you read through them, are not necessarily constructing units, right? And so that is what, we're really signing up to do, is that we are working to implement those goals and policies. So we are not a developer.
No, understood. I get all that. I'm just saying, I mean, they go hand in hand, right? I mean, we're not going to plan for something if we can't.
So the site inventory that was done looked at the infrastructure capacity. And so the sites identified were chosen because they were able to, the infrastructure was available for those units if if development was to happen.
No, I get it. And thank you. It's just for clarifying for those that didn't have the opportunity to read all 49,000 pages. Which, again, we're just being informative here, right? We're going through the data and what's required of us moving this forward. So, no, I just really want to thank you. Beautiful presentation, and understood. Yes, we can give each other a little, little handshake, little wink, wink here, and yeah, we're good with. We're gonna plan for 88 units and then go on to the next phase. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I don't have any questions for staff right now, but I'll reserve any comments to the very end. Why don't we open up public comment now?
Okay, in chambers, we have Kara Valk. You may now approach the podium.
And I just want to say, while Kara's walking up here, that I came to have a meeting with Ariel and Victor the other day. And who was sitting there at a table all by herself? Kara Vonk. What was she doing? I asked, what are you doing here? Reading the housing element. Every page. What citizens take time out of their day to come to City Hall? Right. I said, yeah, like, so thank you, Kara, for paying such close attention, and we're eager to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, planning commissioners. It did take me about 3 hours to read the whole darn thing.
I'll
It was
bet.
huge, but very informative. If you want to learn about housing, it's all there. Um, there are a couple of things I want to point out that kind of surprised me, or there are a lot of recommended changes to our ordinances. And so I just kind of want to highlight those, but I just want to start off saying that one of the things that was mentioned is that we have no growth management ordinance. Apparently it expired in 2015. And that was a little bit concerning to me. I assume if we have the city services, then if we get a number of proposals for housing developments and the land is zoned for that, our hands are tied, right? So we could, this is just probably not a scenario that would happen, but we did have growth management zoning ordinances in the past.
Yep.
We even had a 1% one, and then it required approval by the voters. And it was actually, we did get a proposal, a really darn good one, and it was passed by the voters that overrode that 1% growth. Anyway, apparently that 1% was held invalid by the courts. But we did have one apparently that expired in 2015. So I'm hoping that you as planning commissioners will take a look at that and see if we need to resurrect something. And I just briefly want to go through some of the little changes that are recommended. And a lot of these are zoning changes, and I don't know, they may require general plan amendments to conform. Residential care facilities, it eliminates site review if there are 6 or fewer residential care units. Currently, apparently, everything is subject to site review. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the lot size for R1 single family is reduced from 7,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet. I don't have an issue with that because it'll allow us to build more housing. But just, you should just note that that's a big change. Then multifamily developments, it exempts the 450 square foot open space requirement for fewer than 10 units. And I know I was very involved with the Citizens Committee that did the Mission Gardens. And that started out as being a bunch of shoe boxes in the middle of a bunch of asphalt.
Yeah,
And it was the committee redesigned it with the help of an architect. Oh, shit.
I'll, Victor, I'll waive time for Kara because she's spent
Okay.
3 hours preparing.
Anyway,
That's-
we did include central open space in that one so that kids would have a place to play.
Who was
Yeah.
on that committee?
Myself, Richard Ponce, Georgiana Galarte, Becky McGovern, and our our city manager at the time was
Larry?
huh?
Larry?
Larry. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
You guys did a great job.
Yeah. And we had
That development turned out so well.
that firm assigned a young architect to us,
Uh-huh.
and he was really good.
It's
And
remarkable.
he did a whole survey of the city. He drew it, and he said, we have a very fine, I don't know what the word is, it's small buildings.
Yes.
And anyway, he was very helpful to us as well.
Turned out.
And he actually moved on and moved up to Oregon someplace. But anyway, just so you know, multifamily, the 450 square foot open space, it's recommended that be eliminated if there are fewer than 10 units. Then mixed use proposals, it approves ministerial approval of the site plan and design.
What does?
Mixed use,
Mixed use does what?
ministerial approval of the site plan and design. And
Admin
there's
only?
this
Know that.
goal number 4 that you saw earlier. I don't know what the planning commissioners are going to have left to do because most of it is ministerial. All right, let's see. What else do I have? Oh, we already know that the historic permit requirements will be revised, and I'm assigned to that committee. I guess it's going to be you're going to get more people on it. The Rincon.
Good.
And we're going to take a look at the historic ordinances and try to simplify them. Let's see. Oh, and this is mentioned several times throughout that report, that subjective language, such as compatible, will be removed. So I think that'll be interesting. I think if you get 5 people to agree on what's compatible, that should, should take the day. But anyway, apparently that was highlighted as something that should be removed along with some others. Residential subdivisions extends the approval from 1 year to 2 and may be extended by the planning, by the planner. Or no, it's maybe it's the city manager. Also, what was interesting, under SB 9, we are still considered a non-urbanized community because we have a population under 2,500. And apparently, the estimate for 2031 is that we'll still be under 2,500.
Good.
And then we'll be seeking community development block grant monies to rehab housing, owner-occupied and multifamily. And I would like to make a pitch that we use community development block grant monies to rehabilitate our downtown commercial area. Our businesses, our shops, because a lot of them need help. And I just want to note that San Francisco does have this program, and I think they're actually handing out, and I don't remember the exact number. I think it's 12,000 or 20,000 to each person that wants to rehab. So anyway, under our housing element, we're going to focus on owner occupied, and maybe we can expand it or change it. Not sure we can. Okay, and as I mentioned, the whole focus, especially under Goal 4, is to streamline our zoning ordinances with objective design standards, eliminating words like compatible, so that projects can be approved ministerially by staff. And let's see what else. Oh, there are also density bonuses in there for developers that put in moderate or below, what is it, housing. I just thought these are just things that I noticed in reading through all of that. Our planners are going to be really busy because they have, not only do they need to make all these changes to our ordinances, they also have to, as Ariel mentioned, submit a report by April 1, and they have to do that annually, I guess, to see how much we've done to accomplish all of these goals. And it also mentions an annual study session, so anyway, I'm sorry to take up so much of your time, but I just noticed some interesting tidbits in there. And it will be good to get it certified. So I guess it takes 30 to 90 days or something for the state to approve it. So we're still kind of hoping nothing comes in until that's certified.
We're heading in the right direction.
Okay, thank you for
Kara.
putting up
Thank you very
with
much. Great comments. Great comments.
Okay, we have some additional public on Zoom.
Okay.
iPhone, you have been unmuted.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, iPhone, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
iPhone, can you hear us?
Yes.
Going once, going twice,
Chair, this is John Giffen.
times.
I can hear the
Yeah.
Okay.
caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, but you know what?
It
Nobody's
might be
here.
to a
Nobody's
different
hearing
microphone
us.
or something. Okay. There are no further public comments in chambers or on Zoom.
Okay.
There's a
iPhone, if
malfunction
you
with the
figure out your
microphone there.
audio, come back in. Meanwhile, we'll have the conversation return to the commission. Ariel, I didn't say anything the first round, reserving my comments till now, but Kara did some great issue spotting there, I think. But let me ask the bigger question, which is there any opportunity to make a modification in this housing element now at this point prior to it going to the council?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, what would happen? The state has provided us a substantial conformance letter on this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Any changes provided, we would need to resubmit an additional public draft for their review, and they would have to determine that
Any changes would trigger that.
we would need to submit those changes to them. I can answer, I think, a few of those questions. The state, there was a lot of new in this last few years. There's been a lot of new state housing laws that streamline development. So, like the mixed use, the care facility. These are just state requirements. One of the things I'll also note is that most of the programs are continued from the fifth cycle. They're not necessarily new. They're just things that got continued, and it kind of like, goes through those. Density bonus, again, is another just state law that we're required to follow. So most of the items in there is just kind of adhering to, those new changes. So, and, each year, staff, has to prioritize, different items. And so, we work on, our annual progress report says, okay, we made progress on programs XYZ, or we completed this program, or, no progress was made. And then you report, on the next year.
I don't know if they can hear me now.
Items, would have to, they're broad. They're kind of broad programs, and so
I don't think they can hear me.
those would
No,
be
they can't. They can't hear any of us.
changes, and so
Liz Soto is also on, and Victor at the
may require both planning
Um,
commission and city council approval.
chambers needs to turn on the microphone or something. It's not happening. I don't really have a way of
Okay.
communicating that.
Of the litany
Yeah,
of
because
changes that
I was trying to
Kara
see if I can make a
addressed,
comment for them
a
to
couple that
turn
caught my eye,
whatever
well, all of
something
them are
on,
great, and
but I
thank you
didn't
again,
find
Kara, for
anything.
going through that. So
Yeah, I don't know of a way.
let me ask you a question though, Ariel. Hypothetically, application comes in for a project on Third Street.
I don't think it's going to work.
Mixed use
I don't think so.
on the nationally registered historic inventory, Department of the Interior. Does that trigger some type of design review by the Historic Resources Board, Planning Commission, et cetera?
We would still require historic resource site design review. That's
Okay.
still another state
comment for them.
requirement.
So we have that safeguard, Kara. That's good, right? So as a practical matter, that's the only place mixed use is going to go in San Juan anyway. Mixed use being defined as the first floor being retail commercial is most likely going to be on Third Street. If it's on Fourth, huh? Oh, yeah. well, yeah, I see what you mean. But the health foundation thing, yeah. So, okay, well, that's good to know. So we're still gonna have some oversight for the historic district. It's not gonna, we're not being divested of design there, okay. And also, are you talking about that project?
I'm just talking about our ordinances.
Uh-huh.
At one time, I don't know what the status is anymore. I've kind of lost track. But we used to have required design review of anything built in our gateways. You know, windmill.
Yeah,
Anyway, so that, we used to have that. I don't know if it's
why don't,
still.
yeah, that's a good question. Why don't we put that on the to-do list for next meeting? Get an update on the gateway
Uh-huh,
regulations.
yeah.
I agree. That'd be good to hear
Okay.
on. Okay. GMOs.
I'm, s-
We just put some agenda item, like,
Yeah.
public comments, but
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
I apologize.
okay.
Okay, and then the other one that caught my eye was the no open space for single family, I'm sorry, for multifamily, less than 10 units or less. I don't love that, but I don't want to recirculate and do all that other stuff either, but, and to the extent that's passed down from Sacramento, there may not be a lot to do with that anyway. So that's all my comments. Did we get iPhone user back, Victor, or no? No hands raised?
No.
Okay. All right. If there are any other public or commissioner comments, public comment is closed.
I have more
Good, they were.
of a
Thank you.
question.
Okay.
So, Cara, I understand why you brought those up, and I also understand the amount of work that went into this and the, yeah, where is it?
Sorry.
I also understand how hard it is and how much effort it takes to change a state document like this, especially after you have approval. You just want to kind of leave it alone and let it ride. But my question, particularly over the ministerial review, that is a concern for me. I would like to address that. And then as I was reading through, I did see that we do not, that our GMOs or growth management ordinances expired in 2015 and are no longer in effect. So my question is this: if we were to identify a couple of instances, could we maybe not necessarily do it in this specific article? Could we somehow incorporate rules or regulations around that in the growth management ordinances?
So a few things.
Okay.
The several of those permit streamlining, it's state legislation
Okay,
requirements.
we can't get around it.
So
Gotcha.
yes, so we have to follow.
Okay.
And then a growth management ordinance. So there are a lot of state restrictions on being allowed to approve a growth management ordinance. Normally, it is for such a reason as, for example, when the sewer plants needed to be, was it back in 08, 09 with Hollister, and it needed, repairs and capacity, issues. That would be an eligible, reason why you can enact a growth management ordinance. But with all the state legislation that's passed now, there is a lot of limitations on when and how you can adopt something. And it also has to still be compliant with your health. So I think maybe one of the things I could do is maybe staff could come back with a presentation around growth management and as an informational on when you can use it, how it can be used, and what are the rules and regulations around that. And we could do it that way, if that's through the desire of the commission.
Thank you very much. You've answered my question, and I, for one, would very much like some education on the growth management, because I want to be able to fully understand all of the different elements here that are open to us so that we can execute appropriately and use it to the benefit of our community. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. I agree with Commissioner Retinall that that's like the second time that time failed. Why don't we take a quick break to clean this up?
Victor, can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Liz?
Oh, I can't. I can hear you now.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. John, can you
Yep,
give it a test run? Okay, wonderful.
all good.
Thanks for testing those, Victor.
Okay, let's go back in session here. We're still on agenda item 6A, which is review of the general plan amendment, housing element, sixth cycle update. We initially opened public comment, we heard from staff. We had entertained planning commissioner comments and then heard from the public to some extent, but we realized in the middle of that we had some technical difficulties which have since been addressed, but we just to ensure that everyone in the public has an opportunity to comment that wants to, let's reopen public comment to anyone who may be in Zoom land. The only person in chambers is Kara, really, and I think you're done, right, Kara? Okay, so nothing in chambers. Is there anyone in Zoom land who would like to comment on this agenda item?
I see no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, thanks, Victor. Just quick audio check, John and Liz, you can hear us okay?
Yep,
Okay, and we can hear you.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
yeah,
Okay,
we're good.
Thank you both. Okay, then back to the commission. Any further comments from the commissioners about the housing element? Elise, are you done? Eddie, are you done? I am.
I'm done. Yeah.
I think prior to our break, there was a discussion by Commissioner Retinall suggesting that we might take a look at growth management ordinances on a future agenda. And I just want to voice my support for that idea. I think it'd be interesting and it's something we should do. I think you were looking for direction, so.
Yes, I will, that as a future agenda item.
Okay, great. All right, if there are no other commissioner comments, then I think we will entertain a motion. And again, if you'll refer to your agenda packet, there is specific wording for the form of this motion because it will involve recommending, making recommendations to the council. Specifically adopt resolution number 2026XX.
I make a motion
City
to
Council,
adopt,
There you go. Good.
to
Sorry.
adopt the city council, to adopt the city plan amendment to update the housing element of the 2035 general plan for the 2023 to 2031 sixth cycle planning period.
And determine it is exempt from CEQA.
And determine it is exempt from CEQA. Yes, ma'am.
We have a motion. Is there a second, Elise?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Victor, do you want to call for the roll?
Commissioner Brentnell,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Aye.
Chair DeVries,
Aye.
motion carries.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kara. And thank you again, Ariel, for getting that across the finish line. Now then, place. Item 7, future agenda items. Ariel, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I do. So besides looking at the gateway and the growth management for our last item, we also discussed under our historic resource board meeting that we're going to do a Brown Act and Planning Commissioner training. Additionally,
All good? Turn it off. Okay.
Additionally, I was gonna hit on it in, my planning manager notes, but we, are, gonna be working on, finishing a public draft of the infill study. And once we, have that, we'll be doing a study session with the planning commission, on that draft. And, that includes my future agenda items at this point.
Great, thank you. Eddie, do you have any suggestions for future agenda items? Anything you'd like to see on the agenda?
No, I guess the only thing I would like to see would be a rolling, and I think this has been brought up before, just a rolling list of action items that we have through planning as far as what is coming down range, what we got to vote on.
You have no idea how you just set her up. I got an advanced look. She's probably going to talk about it in her planning manager comments, but you going to talk about your spreadsheet? Why don't you do that during your planning manager comments? You want to do that?
I'm happy to know. I've
Okay.
created, an Excel sheet that includes future agenda items to schedule and then upcoming meetings scheduled. And so when we have our monthly, meetings with each of you, I'm going to be going, through. So you would have gone it yesterday, but you'll see it at our next meeting.
Yeah, you're the best. Thank you.
It's really, really cool. I met with Ariel yesterday and she showed me, and I think it's exactly what you're talking about. I think you'll get happy as I did. Okay, any future agenda items,
None from me.
ideas
Thank
for
you.
you? No? Okay. Um, I don't necessarily have future agenda item suggestions, but I do have some planning commissioner comments at the end. So let's go to number 8 then. Yeah, okay. Number 8, planning commissioner comments. Hey, what do you know about that? Anything,
No, thank you, Chairman.
Eddie?
No, thank you.
Okay. I have 2. The first I alluded to earlier, and that is to reinvigorate a concept that I came up with. I think Elise and I came up with it, actually. I don't know if I can take credit for it, but I think maybe it was your idea, actually. And that's the idea to go on quarterly field trips as a commission, historic resources board, whatever you want to call it, but just a group of people who could learn a lot from other communities that are getting it right. And I don't want to get lost in the weeds on Brown Act and liability and this and that. I'm inclined. Would be such a valuable exercise if we can't get it together as a city to do something like that. I'm inclined to just say, hey, I'm going to go to Columbia next Saturday. Who wants to go with me? And do it that way. But I really want to see what some other communities are doing to leverage history and economic tourism and all of these things that can make uplift our little town a little bit. And I would like to do that on a quarterly basis. When I met with Ariel yesterday, I put the challenge out to her to think about it, to talk about it with the city attorney, with the city manager, to see how it happens. She can work with Liz on any noticing requirements if there's going to be more than 3 of us there. Says it's not going to be on any items before the city formally. No pending business before the city. This is purely educational. It would be, in my mind, akin to going to the California League of Cities conference in Long Beach, which we know doesn't violate the Brown Act if we do that. So I don't think this would be any different. And I'd like to get that done. So I have put that, like I said, that challenge in front of Ariel. And I'm hoping that something can come of it. And she's nodding her head. I think she likes the idea too. It'd be really fun. It'd be great. It'd be really great. And then along those lines, if you guys have ideas, a place you think would be cool to go, like Murphy's maybe, or I don't know, whatever you think of, let me know. Just send me a text or whatever. The last thing that I had that came to mind, I was remiss because I didn't think of it until we got underway on the Planning Commission. And I should have mentioned it during HRB. So I will work with the HRB chair to see what she thinks about advancing this idea forward. But I was just thinking about Georgiana more after we had that moment. And I would like to tonight start an annual Georgiana Gallardi History Award, awarded by the HRB to an individual citizen in San Juan who has demonstrated a desire to pursue, promote, protect the history of San Juan in Georgiana's legacy. It could be like a little certificate or something that we just acknowledge somebody who's carrying the torch forward. I think that'd be really neat and would do a great honor and service to her.
Through the chair, the chair and vice chair can just let staff know when they want to have a certificate of recognition done, and we can add it to the agenda. So it is actually pretty straightforward.
Chairman DeVries, may I speak quickly?
Sure.
Okay, I love the idea. I think based on what we've heard, I didn't know her, but she made great contributions to our community here, and she will be sorely missed. I guess my question is this something that we should do, or is this something that maybe the city council should manage, or
Well, I
what
think-
do you think would be the best way to
I
handle
think
it?
it's, well, the city council will say we want to do it, but, or we should do it, but I don't see why the HRB as the city's designated history board can't pass out a history certificate in recognition of someone contributing to history. Why can't the HRB do that? But if the council thinks it needs to go through the council, then it can go through the council. Whatever makes it happen, I don't care.
When I worked at the county, we didn't have a historic resource board, but our planning commission would request certificates of recognition as well. So I've seen it done both ways, but we can work with the city council on that item.
Yeah, speaking as the chair of the HRB, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I would love to enact it. I just don't want to step on any toes.
Right, no,
So
no one wants to
I'm
step
going
on any toes.
Follow your lead.
The HRB recognizes a property every year, and that's just HRB. So, what do you think of the idea, Kara? Do you want to say anything?
We could bring an item to city council.
Okay, that's fine.
And then they can.
No toe stepping.
I just wanted to remind you that I think it's the HRB through the council, then passes it on, does in May, it's the Historic Preservation Month. And you do give out an award to somebody who has demonstrated that they've done something significant with their property,
Yeah, I just mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And maybe it could be in conjunction with that,
maybe.
just as an idea.
Maybe.
Just thought I'd mention that you do have that award as well.
Right. Yep, I mentioned that. And so I'll talk with Elise about it and we'll see if that goes someplace. So those are my only planning commissioner comments. City manager's not here. Ariel, did you have any final?
Can I just mention one thing about Georgiana? I
Yes.
forgot to mention that she is the founder and maybe co-founder of our San Juan Bautista San Juan Bautista Historic Society.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was founded in 1965.
Wow.
So she's been the executive director of that all those years.
All these years.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. It's
Just-
remarkable the wealth of
I could've
information
mentioned
she
it.
had. And in a town like this, where a lot of history is kept verbally and by memory and by, hey, what happened here? And do you know what happened there? And unfortunately, a lot of it doesn't get written down. So you really depend on those who know it or knew it. And when they start passing on, it's tough. I just remember I borrowed a book from her that I didn't return. I'll give it to Ross, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she'd want me to have it. It was an old design review book for the city. So those are my planning commissioner comments. City manager's not here. Ariel, did you have any concluding comments?
I do just have a couple updates. So one of the current planning applications that was submitted last month was the 2026 mission race. Victor is the planner on that application. But if you have any questions, there's a QR code. So we'll put this in the back if you're interested in going. As a personal note, I have participated in the 5K. Eventually someday, maybe the 10K. We're working up, I'll keep practicing. So. Yeah,
And in full marathon from San Juan?
I think that those that can do it are very impressive.
I didn't even know they had that. Wow.
And I kind of hit on some of the advanced planning items, just that the infill study would be coming. And just a couple quick, this is being put up on the website and presented at city council, and we'll be doing it every month. But just I just want to hit on a couple things. Your guys get to stay very close and tuned on what planning's doing, and we're gonna continue to keep you very busy this year. And that's our goal. And but for just what else is going on with building and code enforcement as community development as a whole. So our code enforcement officer has obtained their B1 building certification and is now receiving training on inspections on active permits within San Juan Bautista, and this will ultimately eliminate the need for contracted building inspector services, except for on-call, like specialty inspections. So we are really working to become in-house. We're also exploring other options of how to bring in plan check as well. So we're really working on building up our department. We've been compiling building permit certificates of occupancy reporting and getting that over to assessors. Just a lot of cleanup of all of our records and management systems, and our routing. All the building department functions are being administered, just response to public inquiries and processing permit documentation with in-house staff, for example, even over the break, people were on vacation, but, being able to, just assist with when there's emergency, situations and emergency encroachment permits were needed to be, issued, we were able to handle that. And so I think being able to be available, and if something's going on, citizens have come in and been interested in different things, and we've done, walking tours, or we go out to site and just being available to have meetings. So I think we're really just being getting to a place of being effective civil servants and really meeting the needs of this community. So we're just continuing to work on that. And then a few things just for code enforcement. There have been 5 new cases, 2 stop work order notices. There were 3 property notice of violations were issued, and 2 parking citations. Since this was prepared, we've also gained receivership on 2 properties. So that what that means is that when receivership has happened, they do the cleanup of that property. And then when it sells, we then recoup costs. And so we're recouping our code enforcement costs. And so, so those are just, kind of a few updates, and I'm happy to if there's any questions from anyone from the public about what's going on or updates, I just encourage you to just please reach out, to myself or Victor, and we're happy to answer, any questions. And that concludes my comments. Sorry to take a
No,
little time.
it was great. Thank you, Ariel. If there's nothing else, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I second that.
Roll call, please, Victor.
Commissioner Britnell
Aye.
and Commissioner Sanchez. Chair DeVries.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.